programs. We call it economic development because we cover workforce development, but it's broader than that. And for convenience sake, we do, in fact, call my office as one of the two program offices because we do, in fact, run a lot of programs. But because our office represents the training as well as the education, credit, and non-credit aspects of what occurs in our community colleges, covering that kind of territory, we also pay attention to lots of the programs in our federal offices that touch our colleges. David talked an awful lot about Pell Grants in particular, and it's because it is huge in terms of its impact on our colleges. Many, many years ago, the federal government made a decision about higher education. They didn't really want to get in the business of directly funding higher education. But on the other hand, they understood how important it was, and so they decided that they would help higher education by helping students go to school. And that was an indirect way of helping all institutions. And we say all institutions, we mean private and public. Now, sometimes, David didn't get into this, but sometimes people say that the reason the Pell Grants are in as much trouble as they are is because they allow private institutions to charge higher and higher rates. And that's what's really bankrupting the system, whereas our tuitions remain pretty steady. We raise them, but we don't raise them as high as others by any stretch of the imagination. And therefore we're not part of the problem. But on the other hand, the federal government did not want to make a decision about where Johnny or Mary went to school. They did not want to foreclose the ability of those individuals to go to a private institution. And therefore said, no, you can only go to a public institution, because that seemed to be a bit unfair. And to give you an idea just how unfair it might be, in the city of Philadelphia, the only public institution of higher education is the Community College of Philadelphia. There is no Penn State there. University of Penn is there. It's private. And so if you think about it, those kind of decisions could be quite critical in terms of what you would allow or disallow for the great public that pays its taxes and should therefore expect to be able to make some fairly free choices across there. So there is no discrimination there between private and public, but it comes at a fairly high price, frankly. But at any rate, David spent most of his time on that subject. And since one of the things that I was asked to talk a little bit about was how do you respond to regional labor market needs in both credit and non-credit training,